I have a soft spot for terrible and underrated movies. No matter how cringy they are, I love watching awful films to find anything redeemable. Because you never know, you might just end up finding a gold nugget in a pile of coal. That's why I've decided to start the Fix-It Theater.
1, 2, 3, come on!
Hey guys, I'm your usher Fastenwick, and today at Fix-It Theater, I'm going to be talking about a film that I would call pretty good if you don't overthink it. So grab your tickets, they're going fast, and let's roll the trailer.
This tablet confirms my theory about the existence of fantastical creatures in a hidden land. A land of unicorns, minotaurs, the whole bunch.
If you really want to show your children a unicorn, we'll find the hidden lands.
I am Robu. Welcome to Shanku Manor, home of the great Professor Shanku.
Come along, everyone.
What are we looking for?
The living, breathing unicorn.
This is my favorite part, the chase.
I'm on the verge of something truly amazing. Legend has it that the unicorn is created by the power of the tablet.
Watch out! A secret entrance!
This is it!
It's the Garden of Dreams.
Unicorn! What? No!
Get me plants, animals, everything!
What are they doing? They're robbing the place.
You found a real unicorn?
We'll return with an army and destroy this place!
I've got a plan.
If you want to watch this movie before I talk about it, you can rent it on YouTube, Google Play, Vudu, and Amazon. At first glance, this movie seems extremely boring, because the trailer doesn't do much to make it seem exciting, and pretty much every scene in the trailer is from the last 20 minutes of the film. But let's start from the beginning and go over the entirety of this film and find what's redeemable about the unicorn adventure. And I'm sure you've noticed by now that the sound quality here is terrible at the moment. I'm in the middle of a big move, so I plan to set up a proper audio booth once that's all done. In the meantime, we're stuck with this. I'm sorry, guys. Anyway, the movie starts off with us meeting Professor Shanku and his best friend slash sidekick named... I couldn't remember his name for the life of me. I had to Google it. It's Charles.
This is the greatest plan.
Not that Charles. Anyway, Charles believes that unicorns exist in a hidden land, but the professor disagrees. And when the antagonists show up, I also can't remember their names, the professor loses his important research diary to save Charles. After that, there's a bit of a time skip, and we meet two kids named Melody and Mo, who are apparently looking for their missing father, aka Charles. They arrive at a train station and are almost kidnapped by the antagonists, who are after the same secret Charles was after. But Professor Shanku's invention, Robu, noticed the two kids and brought them to the professor. Now, I love this robot. He's got a sweet yet simple design and is one of the few characters that feels finished. He's got some wit and street smarts, but he's also endearing.
Science gives us all pleasure, sir. Shall I get the vacuum? Buckle up. I am still learning. The children, you are supposed to be watching them, not watching them run away.
I think he is the most entertaining part of the film, second to Shanku. After the kids are introduced to the professor and they explain that their father is missing, Shanku, Robu, and the kids hop on a plane to go find him.
We're getting on a plane with a crazy old rich bloke who makes unicorns in his spare time? Is that a good idea?
And they accidentally bring along Shanku's neighbor. The antagonists show up and nearly make them crash, but they survive and land near a rural village in the mountains. And for some reason, they think this will lead them to Charles. I don't remember how they reached that conclusion. Charles left a cryptic message of some kind, I don't remember. The kids meet a fun guy named Malkovich who saves them from some random men in the most boring way possible.
How many punches it takes to drop an ox?
Uh-oh, is it over? Oh, good. Anyway, Malkovich offers to take the whole team up into the snowy mountains since he has access to yaks. So they start hiking. They deal with an avalanche and it almost kills Robu, but he's fine. They solve a puzzle and then lose control of their wagon on an icy river and almost lose Robu again, but he's fine. And actually helps save their hides. I swear this robot is the best. I love him. After they survive that, they run into bandits. They defeat the bandits with some help from Robu and Professor Shanku's inventions, and as it turns out, the lead bandit is in love with Melody and Mo's dad. And they are completely fine with this. They don't even react.
He was tired from his travels, but otherwise finer than a yak hair. A beautiful, beautiful man. He was with us for a week, maybe more, maybe less. Time loses its way up here.
But she points them in the right direction to bring back her true love, Charles, because she is also worried about him. After they walk for a while, they solve another batch of puzzles and discover a crystal wall which they need flying boots to get over. And then we get a plot twist that I kind of saw coming, kind of didn't. Malkovich actually works for the antagonists. Now, I didn't trust him when he first appeared, but at this point there was maybe a half hour left in the film and I had forgotten that the antagonists existed. So Malkovich calls in the rest of the antagonists with the intent to plunder whatever is beyond the crystal wall. Shanku and the gang get over as well and get separated. The kids end up wandering alone and Shanku, Robu, and the neighbor end up finding Charles. Charles explains that he can't leave because he ate food from this place and will be Thanos'd if he tries. He also made friends with this unicorn. This thing will haunt my dreams. But of course the antagonists are still an issue and they kidnap the unicorn and several other creatures planning to leave and sell them. They kidnap Charles as well and the kids are trying to help but have been carried off by a giant bird. However, Shanku makes it on the plane to save his friend and the neighbor has been utterly unhelpful this whole time, getting himself chased by a giant bee and forcing Robu to help him. Robu and the neighbor do save the kids and then they all wait to see what happens with Charles and Shanku since they can't get on the plane. Shanku frees Charles and the unicorn and they all jump out of the plane. They are sharing a parachute, but drop the unicorn and she plummets to her death. Just kidding. The neighbor saves her. And this was actually a really cool moment because the neighbor really wanted to help and hadn't done anything helpful so far. So he's determined to save the unicorn. And Robu, who can literally fly, notices how the neighbor really, really wants to save that unicorn. And instead of just doing it himself, Robu helps the neighbor and lets him catch the unicorn. I told you, this robot is awesome. How sweet is that? Now, the antagonists lose everything they collected on the plane because it turns to dust as soon as they leave. The order they vanish in makes no sense, though. Shanku, the kids, the neighbor, and Robu have to leave Charles behind because he still can't leave. However, they promise to find a cure, and the film ends with a sequel tease as the group tries to find a cure for Thanositis so they can bring Charles home. Now, I'm sure you've noticed this movie is kind of a mess. The last 20 minutes of the film feels like a completely different story because the first part of the film was being shaped into an actually good sci-fi-ish movie with maybe some mystery and Indiana Jones thrown in. Some of the world building wasn't half bad and all of Shanku's inventions were kind of fun. I forgot the movie was even about a unicorn at all because the unicorn was only there for the last 20 minutes or so of the film. Also, it was terrifying. This is going to be my sleep paralysis demon now. Once they went over the crystal wall, the tone completely shifted from an almost Phileas Fogg style to a full-on Greek myth fantasy. Just flipped the switch. It was a little jarring, if I'm being honest. I feel like the movie would have been so much better if they hadn't made it about unicorns at all, and focused on the other elements of the film. Mostly for story reasons, but also because my life would be so much better if I had never seen this creature. Some of the characters feel unfinished, especially Melody and Mo. The creators tried too hard to make them typical kids, but also not. So most of the time, the kids came off as cringy and they didn't make any sense.
Now I'm going to post it on the internet. I'm calling it My Little Brother Visits Almora. Huh! It's already got 6 comments. And there's 7, 8, and 9. You might go viral.
What? What the fuck?
Hello, I am a child and I love the internet meme me. Even though a lot of the animation and character design is actually really good, the kids look completely out of place most of the time, and some of their animation is janky. They had potential, it just wasn't enough. The neighbor and Charles were honestly boring. I never really cared about either of them. They had a funny moment here or there, but it was mostly them just existing in the background. Malkovich and the other antagonists had a great setup, but it wasn't used properly, and it felt like the antagonists didn't even matter in the film at all. They just created pointless conflict, and they weren't even that interesting. Maybe if they had been developed more, they could have been a lot better. However, the two best parts of the film are without a doubt Professor Shanku and Robu. I absolutely love their designs, and I think their animations are the best looking. They also have the best personalities, because they're both pretty witty and they work together extremely well. Some of Shanku's one-liners had me genuinely laughing.
Professor Shanku, my feet.
Yes, bring them. Don't just stand there with your talk holes open, unless you want to catch a bug. Are you trying to catch a bug?
Yaks? A yak once bit and spit on my sister Via.
Is she coming with us?
No.
Perfect.
They're not following us into the storm.
Friendzotti must not be paying them enough.
Their dynamic is fun. They're constantly saving everyone else, even though it seems like they don't care to an extent. But I wish they were developed more because the film focuses on the other characters trying to hammer them out. Robu and Shanku end up doing most of the work and try to include the other characters for the sake of the movie.
But I do know your kind would not strike a woman.
You're absolutely right, of course, Yamu. That's why I let my friend do it.
Sorry.
Because Robu and Shanku were actually fun characters, I would suggest making them the focus of the film instead of the kids. They could keep Malkovich for the plot, and instead of Melody and Mo on the search for Charles, mash them into one kid named Melody who is best friends with the professor against her father's wishes, almost like a Back to the Future deal with Shanku as the main protagonist. Mash Charles and the neighbor into one character, aka Melody's new father, who lives next door to Shanku. This would improve them both as a character and also make their involvement less random, but the neighbor is still comic relief. This would also cut down on the useless characters, but still keep enough helplessness in the cast so Robu and Shanku can show off just a bit. Of course, the antagonists would need to be fixed up in order to provide the film with meaningful conflict. It wouldn't be too hard to develop a new end goal to replace the unicorn/missing father bit. Once you do all that and fix some of the cringing animations and acting, then this film would be so much better. It wouldn't even be hard to come up with a new title, because technically the film is called The Shanku Diaries, A Unicorn Adventure. Just call it The Shanku Diaries and focus more on the diary, which was hardly ever brought up. I would call that a promising film. But unfortunately, the film has already been completed, so we're stuck with the finished product and the lost potential it had. Anyway, thank you for visiting the Fix-It Theater. If you want to see the movie for yourself, you can rent it on YouTube, Amazon, Vudu, and Google Play. Tell me your thoughts on the movie and what you might have changed to fix this film. I hope you'll visit again. I will see you in the comments.
Definitely a problem with the electrical output. I do have an alarm function, sir.
I know, but how often do I really get to do that?
I don't know why you wanna treat me this way. Yeah.